Today is a good day. My name is Jason Roberts. This is the Hitchmen Podcast coming from you live from New York City. We're going to talk about all things dating, all things relationship, all things dating apps. It's 2024. The game has changed, but I'm here to talk about it with you guys. I'm going to have people calling in. I want to introduce myself a little bit. I'm coming from Buffalo, New York. My grandparents were married for 71 years. My grandpa passed recently. My grandmother's still alive. Big part of my life. My parents have been married for 45 years plus. I have two older sisters that are both married with 5 nieces and nephews. I've been in a relationship since I was 21 years old. I'm a relationship love guy. And I want to bring this new culture of love and relationships and this new way of dating with online, with social media, and really talk about things that we're really dealing with, the struggles, the things we like about it, the things we don't like about it. It's going to be a really fun time. I've been living in New York City since 2013. I've traveled all over the world with my relationships, with love, and with sports. I played soccer my whole life since I could walk, played in college, played a little bit after. I feel like this was a good time in my life to become a matchmaker, to help other people find love, and to help other people with this process of, this life we live. And so I'm really excited to be doing something new. This podcast is something that we've been talking about for a long time, and I'm excited to really start to open it up and to kind of bring you guys involved with it and kind of talk about things that we want to talk about. I'm going to bring in a girl's perspective. I'm going to bring in a guy's perspective. We're going to kind of open it up because I believe that in 2024, love is love and love is for everyone. And there's so many different perspectives, and I don't think there's one way to do it. But I think relationships are all about bringing two people together and bringing them as one soul, one heart, and not everyone is the same, and not everyone has the same way, the same vision of what a relationship should be. But the best thing about a relationship is you get to share life with somebody else, and that's to me what's really beautiful. And I had amazing role models in my life. I know that I'm really blessed with that. I know that I'm really lucky to have, people in my family that I'm still really close with that kind of showed me the way. And I'm excited for that next step in my life, to be married and to have kids. And, we're going to work through it together. And that's going to be the fun part about this podcast, because it's going to be something where I want you guys to interact with me. I want you guys to help me. I want you guys to tell me your story so the listeners out there can really be involved. And we're going to give you a perspective. I live in New York City, but, I know there's lots of places all over the world. And I grew up in Buffalo, which is very farmland, horses, crops, corn. So that was definitely a different way to grow up. And now I live in a city that's wild and crazy, and there's millions of people dating each other, and they're meeting each other so many different ways. So we're going to talk a lot about that process and what we all go through on a daily basis. So I named it The Hitchmen because I love the movie Hitch with Will Smith. In my matchmaking business, I only take on people like Hitch did, that are very serious about relationships. They're looking to be with one partner, that are looking to get married or just have a partner for life and to have kids. And I really resonated with that movie because Will Smith was, the epitome of that guy that wanted to help out Albert in this world that's crazy. And he was, going after a beautiful woman, and he kind of gave him all the tips and the things that you kind of need to date in this world that we live in. So I'm a very positive person. All the people in my life will tell you, coming from soccer, I was always a leader, always wanting to be the person to motivate and push people. And this dating consulting side, which is not always introduced in the matchmaking world, is where I really work one-on-one with my clients for multiple hours a month, talking about dates they're going on, what their dating strategy is, what they bring to the relationship, and really how they, fit in this world. And I think the fun thing about, this life is, like I said, I was in relationships since I was 21 years old. And the person that I was when I was 21 is very different than who I am now in my early 30s. And I think that's really like the fun thing about, dating, is that we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing. And in the dating consulting side of it, which makes me a little bit different, is we talk about those things. We really are raw, and we talk about emotions, and we talk about communication in relationships, and we really break it down. I'm also known as someone that's very type A, that's very honest, I'm very direct. And of course, everyone's opinions, are different, and everyone has their own perspectives. But I really am someone that believes in, you have to be honest, you have to be open, and you have to be willing to grow. And that's what I think really makes the best partners and the best relationships. That I had this whole philosophy behind, there's a gardener and a flower in every relationships. And it changes as you evolve. There's a gardener of, maybe financially you're carrying the weight. But then, maybe you can lift your partner up to help them build a business and help them make more money. And maybe they can become the gardener. You never know. And socially, there's a gardener and a flower, that sometimes one person's more, extroverted, and the other person's more introverted. But through the process of communication and kind of helping other people come out of their shell and grow together, it might change that, the person that was more introverted could then become the gardener and really, lead the way, and, plan social events and plan date nights out. And I think that's what's really beautiful about dating and understanding ourselves, is this process we all go through, and it's constantly changing. So that's where the dating consulting really comes in. And it's actually what I really love about matchmaking. I really love that process of growth and constantly working on ourselves, because I am not perfect, and I have so many things that I work on a daily basis. And I think that's the sports background, and playing all sports growing up really helped me like deal with criticism and deal with growth. And that's what's, kind of brought me from this small town. I graduated in a town of 75 kids I graduated with, now living in a city with millions and millions of people. And I think I had a lot of people growing up to think, oh, you're never going to play Division I soccer. You're never going to make it, past this small town. And I think what I always did was just work harder and constantly try to grow myself and learn about the world. And I think that's really how I, got to where I am today, because I wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to let that one person or those two people be like, you're not going to make it. I used that drive and passion to kind of make something more of my life. I think what happens with the dating apps and social media is we have not become intentional with our dating. I think sometimes these apps create little games where you're swiping, or, you have to do 100 different matches before you get this, or, they hide the people they actually think you're going to like. And I think people now just swipe without thinking, oh, there's actually someone on the other side of that phone that's actually swiping to maybe match with you or to have a conversation with you. And I think that's the one thing that we all really deal with now. I think it's also, there's so many options now, and I think we have a hard time, settling, and we always think, oh, there's always something better out there. And I think that's why with me, I really break down. I have a whole philosophy with my clients that we really break down, or like, what are the things that are most important to us? It's not the looking for a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, trust fund idea. It's more the idea of looking for someone that's my best friend, that is going to be my companion, that's going to lift me up, that's going to love me, that's going to, provide stability in my life. And I think, physical is so important. I know I want to be physically attractive to my partner. And I think those things definitely are components we put in. But I think what happens now is we have lost that ability to connect and to be vulnerable on first and second dates, because we're waiting to be hurt, or we're waiting to be ghosted, or we're waiting, to put ourselves out there and then be rejected. And so those are things, I talk a lot about with my clients. It's called, you got to shoot your shot. And if, let's say someone turns you down, at least you put that energy out there into the world. And now you're not thinking, oh, I don't know if maybe they like me or they don't like me. At least and then we can, work through that process of, the emotions that come with rejection. But then we live in this positive mindset of like, all right, it's on to the next one. It's on to the next person that's going to be my person. Because positive mindset is the only way we live in. I opened up my business, the age range, because of the Golden Bachelor. Usually I was working with people from the ages of like 25 to 60. But recently we opened it up to, the 70, the 75-year-olds, because I think I saw my grandmother when my grandpa passed, and she was really lonely, and I still see that she's lonely. I know she probably will never have another partner. She still lives on her own. She's 92 years old. She is a badass, and I love her so much, and she's so inspirational to me because she teaches me so much, but I really opened up my world from, 60s, but now we work with 70-year-olds. I think my ideal clientele, though, and the people I work with are lovers, are emotional, are compassionate, are go-getters, are type A people that are like, let's get shit done, foot on the pedal type of people. Like I said, I grew up in a very small town where, sometimes people just enjoy to have their home and they like to just stay around in that local town, which for me is beautiful. I love that they love to do that. I love to come home and visit that, but I love to travel and I love to see the world, and I'm constantly looking for new adventures. And I think my clientels are very similar to that because, like I said, I'm very positive, I'm very motivating, and I believe that there's so much out in this world for us to learn, and I'm excited to continue to learn. I mean, I think that's why this podcast, in my earlier years, I lived a very private life. I think I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted and where I wanted to go with my life, who I wanted to be. And I've always known I wanted to motivate people. I wanted to be someone to help. I used to go with my grandmother to the nursing homes when I was 5 and 6 years old. And, someday I hope maybe she'll be on this podcast with me. And she'll tell the story about how when I walked into that room, I saw all these people that didn't really have people visiting them, but they didn't have family. And I just was like, I loved that. I loved being able to make them smile and to make them happy. And I really am someone that gets a lot of joy from helping other people. And so I think that's really the people that I also want to work with, are people that are go-getters, but also people that, want to help others, that want to be compassionate, that want to be lovers. A lot of matchmaking companies only really want to work with people that have a lot of money. I think for me, I created my module off of being able to help everybody that's really looking to be serious about dating. And I think what makes my, business a little bit different is me, if I'm being honest. I think I'm someone that has a lot of compassion. I think I'm very emotional. I grew up with 2 older sisters, so I think, and I have a mother that's very emotional, and I love that I got, although I'm a man and I played sports and I was a Division I athlete, I'm someone that also is very emotional, and I'm a lover, and I'm a caretaker. And in my relationships, I'm really a caretaker, and I think that's something that more men, I think, need to learn. I think in a culture of being masculine and being strong is pushed down our throats. Let go of your emotions and just be a provider. And I think that's something that I'm excited to kind of help the men that I work with, especially, and then also with women, to help women feel strong and be able to say, I want a man, I don't need a man. I'm a woman that can provide for myself, and bringing a man involved in my life and to, really, really create this balance between love and work, and love and being a stay-at-home mom. And I think there needs to be more of this openness behind it. And so the Hitchmen has really been also a space for me to really talk about things with people that they're not so comfortable with, things that happen when we're kids that, I think we all struggle with. And I think there's this preconceived ideas that get put on us by our families or by our friends. And I think I'm a very open space. I'm also a very private space. I talk to this a lot with my clients. I always say, like, if what you tell me stays between me and you, if your mom calls me and asks, hey, what did you talk with Jessica about? I'd say, you got to ask Jessica, because that's not my story to tell. And I think privacy is something that I really pride myself on with the Hitchmen, because I think that helps my clients open up with me and feel like, hey, like, I can tell Jason something and he's not going to go out here and, tell everyone, or use my story to get more business, or, put on social media. I think on social media, I try to share stories of good and bad, but I never tell specific stories about my clients unless they want me to. I think, and this is what will be exciting about this podcast, is I do want it to be a space where people can open up and talk about the things they're going through. And I think that will help other people as well. I get DMs and I get messages of like, find me a rich husband, or find me a rich girl. For me, that's not what life is all about. Those are just add-ons. Those things are fun. You can have the best apartment in New York City overlooking Central Park, but if you're not in a relationship with someone that you love, it's not meant for you. I want to find and work with people that are looking for love and looking for companionship. And the add-ons are, yes, listen, if we can work towards, I have a goal. I want as many homes as I can have, and I want to build a family, and I want to, have a prosperous life. But I first and foremost want to work with people that want to find a lover and a partner that they really want to spend time with. That's a best friend. I think the fun thing about what I'm going to do with the call-ins and with bringing on guests and I'm going to bring on singles. I'm going to bring on people that are in relationships, people that, are my friends that are, big CEOs in New York City, or, I also live part of my life in Florida. So I'm going to bring on people from kind of different backgrounds to kind of tell their stories about, where they came from and what they have experienced and the do's and don'ts. The person that I want to listen to this podcast is someone that has been hitting the streets dating, that, is single or been in a relationship or just gotten out of a relationship, that's sick of swiping, that's sick of playing these games of online with social media, with TikTok, with Instagram, with dating apps, and is really like looking for some advice or some tips on really, where the dating world is going and how to kind of, manage it and the expectations of it, and how to kind of keep a positive mindset behind dating, because, that's kind of my philosophy. You have to have a positive mindset. We have to keep our foot on the pedal. And although these streets are not easy to, work in, and it's something that, we got to keep our foot on the pedal, and we got to keep moving forward with positivity and with this idea that we are going to find this person that we're going to spend the rest of our life with. And I think that's really what I want this podcast to really reach to people, is that there is hope. And although the world of dating is very different and dating apps are, making it very hard to communicate with people, it's okay. Like we're going to do this together, and we're going to fight this, and we're going to find our people, and we're going to find my clients, and we're going to find my friends, and we're going to find you listeners, the love of your life. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 1 of the Hitchmen Podcast. I'm so excited. I'm excited where this is going to go. I'm excited to talk to people. I'm excited to learn myself. And I'm excited to bring on people and really explore this world of dating and matchmaking and relationships. And I look forward to helping as many people as possible have the love story that my grandparents had for 71 years.